Leslie, how has your summer been? What have you been up to?
Um, well, today was the first day of school. So when you're a student, you get about like 10 weeks of summer. So
Yeah.
we usually try to be very strategic about our priorities. So this summer, we were able to take our first family plane trip to Hawaii, and it's been a while since I've traveled.
Hmm.
So it was quite the good experience to get away. We didn't go like, 1 or 2 years after COVID like everybody.
Hmm.
Um, so we started off with that trip because we knew we would have a few things lined up with FCBC, and we really wanted to prioritize the church ministries that were offered this summer,
Hmm.
um, such as the VBS, of course. My kids get to go to that, and it's just something we can all do together. And then the other thing was that our family got to join the youth retreat, and I got the specific assignment to do what you should have done, Erin, which is to be the camp nurse.
Oh.
Uh, so that was my specific role in the retreat.
Yeah.
And then, aside from those things, I think resting and just taking it slow is something that we wanted to do. I think a lot of good things happen when you're just waiting around and there's good spontaneous opportunities to be available to whoever else is on summer break, which
Hmm.
is pretty much all the students at our church.
Yeah. Hold on. Let's backtrack a second. You
Okay.
said you said that you wanted to like rest, but it sounds like your summer is packed with a lot of stuff. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, there's 10 weeks. So youth retreat takes up 2 nights and then VBS is 5 days. So, in between those events, there's a lot of preparation that goes into it, especially
Hmm.
VBS. So, there's also a lot of hours in the day, and we're not schooling
Hmm.
during the break time. So, no, we had a lot of slow mornings where we're sleeping in and there's no agenda.
Oh,
So
okay.
able to say things like, let's go do this, or let's go meet up with these people.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by resting. Like there's a lot of downtime.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Um, I was a camp nurse before, maybe a
Oh,
couple years before. Yeah, I
no way.
mean, right now I'm in a different season, obviously. But yeah, who knows? Maybe one day I'll return. That's fun. It's fun being a camp nurse, as long as nothing too wild happens, I guess.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. How did you like being a camp nurse?
Um, it was very well. We weren't prepared this time because last year we were
Mm,
like unofficial nurse since we're the only adults who attended
mm,
without
mm, mm.
a counselor, and we realized like how necessary this role is
Right, 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 right.
around kids. And I should have known that as a parent because anything can always happen. So we
Right.
were a little bit more prepared with our
Mm,
supplies and our medicine, but I still feel like that role was really involved, much more involved for the short 2 days we were there. There was a long list of wounds and injuries,
yeah.
accidents that I had to treat, and I was literally just seeing people every time we were gathering. I had to
Yeah.
bring them. I was like a portable nurse.
Yeah.
They weren't cutting me. I was running to them. But those were the kids I got to meet. I learned their names. I learned their parents. So that was really, it was nice. It was a nice way to break the ice.
Yeah. And this was a high school retreat? Is that what it was?
Yeah, well, the youth retreat. So it involves like I think sixth grade, maybe all the way to
Oh,
12th
okay. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. So you have like some younger ones, I guess, sixth grade.
grade.
It's interesting if you ever do a nurse for like the even younger ones, like elementary school age.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah, yeah, literal babies.
yeah.
Um, but okay, so how did you feel being, I guess, what were you like the oldest person at the retreat then?
Uh, uh, we okay. Well, as long as Darren's there, he's the oldest.
Okay, right, right, right.
Yes, we are like the adults, and that's why I felt really scared too with that
Mm, mm,
responsibility. Before
mm.
we the the campsite, I was doing all my research to find like the nearest like hospitals or urgent cares because we would be the one taking those kids if there was like a dire like emergency.
Right, right, right.
So it's a big responsibility, especially when you know things that could happen, and those are things you don't think about when you're young, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I want to talk to you about you spending time with these young people,
Yep.
this Gen Z group. So yeah, like how do you feel spending time with younger people? Does it make you feel good? Does it give you life and energy?
Hey, that's a good question. That's a very good question. Do you remember last year we had done like a pastor sermon series?
Mhm.
One of our live Instagram was about like that
Yes,
generation.
yes, yes. I remember that. Yeah.
You know, to be honest, at that point in my life, I don't think I was really integrated. I didn't know who these people were, and I
Okay.
felt really far removed. And I think in the last year, for whatever reason, I think that it was just God's timing that we served at the youth retreat, and it was very pivotal for me in helping plan for
Yeah.
VBS to know who kids were because
Mm.
we were leading them and we had to make assignments for them. And so this was kind of like me entering new territory, and
Mm.
you know, be a little intimidating because you kind of start off with like not having a reference point. You don't have understanding or experience. So, you know, it's a scary feeling. It's like, I don't know what they think of
Mm.
me. I I know what I think about them, but they're just assumptions,
Mm.
right?
Mm. Mm.
Um, I I feel like, man, God is so good to allow us to being integrated in
Uh,
in the
yeah.
sense that yeah, they do make me feel good, but not in an emotional sense. It's more so like, you know, I had I think I believed maybe like false assumptions about them coming out of COVID. I think some of the personal assumptions and maybe lies that I thought
Mm.
was that being like the generation that's like always on their screens, I
Mm.
thought that would not be people oriented, or
Mm.
they wouldn't have interest to build like real relationships with
Mm.
one another and
Mm.
also like upward
Mm.
with like other people. I'm old now, right? And so that was always an insecurity. Like I just made this assumption, oh, that these people don't want to have anything to do with like the older folks at church.
Mm.
But the reason why I say God is good is because he totally like just broke my assumptions by showing me that these people are real and they have feelings and
Mm.
they care for one another
Mm.
very deeply. They like hanging out together and they're very
Mm.
inclusive and open towards anyone else who shows up.
Mm. Mm.
So, you know, as that week of VBS, I was really taking note, trying to understand their ways and their behavior. And I noticed that they really want to spend time loitering and they don't want to leave each other.
Mm.
And they're just really like tight knit like that. And I think that's really refreshing because I guess I didn't expect people who are in touch with like their phones so early in life that they would actually care or hunger for like real interactions because that's something, you know, the older generation only knows about, you know.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So yeah, I feel like they're very warm. They like to laugh a lot, and there are differences. I'm you know I really have to ask a lot of direct questions to understand their communication patterns.
Okay.
Their yeah, it's like a new curve, and I don't want to like offend them
Mm.
by being. It's like a big. I'm asking a lot of questions.
Okay, well, sorry if I can just say something here. I think it's good that you're trying to get to know, I guess, younger people. Um, I think the word that you're looking for was
Yeah,
intergenerational. Is that what you were looking for
yep,
earlier?
yep,
Yeah. So I think you were saying that it's a blessing that we're able to do this because I think not a lot of maybe churches or maybe people. our age get to do stuff like this, get to interact with younger people in this way. Um, I think that you are putting yourself in these situations, right? I think that you're going out of your way to be with the youth, right? Why is that? Why is that, Luz? Like, nobody's forcing you to serve in VBS. Nobody's forcing you to go to this retreat. Where does this heart for these younger people come from?
Um, on one hand, I think it's seeing how we as a family can use our free time because like we do
Mm,
have I don't have a full-time job where I'm expected to be anywhere. So I feel like one way that our time can be used is by really building relationships. And
mm,
I think this particular generation, Gen Z, falls between the ages now of like 10 to 25.
right,
And ever since our last chat about them
right,
on
right.
Instagram Live, I really started praying about where they fall in our church
Okay,
and what is God up to in their lives.
okay.
And I think I'm learning a lot that their faith is, I can see their
Mm,
faith. And this is like the generation that's going to be serving the massive, like, I guess, influx of babies that are currently in our church.
right.
And 5 to 10 years from now, we are going to have like a massive children's and youth ministry like we've never had before.
Mm,
And
mm,
I think that's a special calling. Like I don't think we've ever had this kind of families or new families with babies. It's just this baby boom. It's like kind of crazy how many babies in strollers you see on a given Sunday.
yeah,
And when I saw how many youth and students like signed up for VBS,
yeah.
I feel like these are like untapped potential of like talent. Like these are people who have actual talent and spiritual gifts. And if we can like tap into them now and say, hey, you're valuable to the church and we need you. Like right now, we need you right now to
Right,
serve.
right,
You're valuable. And
right.
I feel like if you miss that opportunity and then they go off into the world and they're adults and they might think that they're more valuable outside of
Mm,
the church, you know?
mm, mm, mm,
So
mm.
I'm watching with my eyes and I'm praying like bring them to the let them use their talents and their gifts here for, the disciple making opportunities that our church is offering.
Mm,
So
mm.
that's personal hope.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what that's going to look like, but I like building relationships with them, and it's been really fun. I'm not going to lie, they're a fun group, and that I've never laughed harder than I have with some of the things we've talked about.
Wow.
Really, yeah, really, yeah,
Okay, well, okay, sorry, let me interject again. I mean, I think I'm there with you.
yeah,
Our kid, I mean, your kids are older, right?
yeah.
But I mean, somewhere along the line, our children are going to be, around this group of
Hmm.
people, of young people. And so, yes, it's definitely like, oh yeah, we're going to invest in them because they're going to invest in our kids too. So that's just being straight up about it, right? But then I do think that, I can see that you do care about them spiritually, not just necessarily, oh, they're going to be investing in my kids, so I need to invest in them too. And I
Oh
think
no, of course
when I, I
not
think,
that output, but yeah, I mean, I guess um, I I don't know. I feel like very sorry, I'm like sorry, feeling kind of speechless right now.
oh, it's okay. It's part of the nature of doing this live stuff, just kind of go with the flow.
I that as you get older as an adult, you
Mm,
kind of start sometimes like losing your heart because you just have to just a lot more responsibilities and less time to do things like enjoy life and laugh. And I think what Jen taught me, because they haven't really tasted the burdens of life and adulthood, is they're still really very
mm,
much enjoying life, their free time. They like hanging out. And I very much just like spending time with them, and it's really weird because there's such a large age gap,
Mhm.
but literally, like, I don't really have an agenda when I'm talking to them. It's just like they're just really fun people to hang out
Mm.
with, and I enjoy their company.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think what you're referring to is just the grind of life,
Yep.
where it's just constant working. So yeah, it's totally refreshing to be around the young people. Yeah, I've been doing youth ministry kind of nonstop since since you and I have been doing it together. And
Yep.
so yeah, it's definitely every generation's special, obviously, right? But yeah, I can affirm everything that you're saying about this group of people. Um, Les, I want to just maybe throw one more question at you. Um, what was your college experience like? Because this group of people we're talking about, like, maybe seniors in high school, kind of that early college freshman year. Yeah, what was your college experience like? And do you ever compare it to this group of young people?
That's a really big question. Um, so college for me, well, first I did go to UC
Hmm.
Irvine for all 4 years, and I got my undergrad in psychology. Um, I think what I would say about college is it's a training ground for you to become independent.
Mm.
I think that's more important than like actually getting a college degree. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say anything about that, but um,
It's fine.
college was a really hard time for me.
Oh, okay.
Personally, it was.
Okay.
I think I just didn't know how independent you had to be, and a lot of decisions have to be made by you, and you have to bear the consequences of your decisions, like
Mm,
your sleeping and eating habits,
mm,
make sure you're responsible for your academics, but also like prioritizing your spiritual care.
mm,
But thankfully, I was still commuting back to my home church every single weekend, and
mm.
I did have a very strong church fellowship and family, and also like I was involved on the campus ministries. So I feel like that was maybe more vibrant, but on paper, like academically, I feel like I'm really well acquainted with like AP, not advanced placement, but like academic probation.
Oh.
Like a really hard time like with my classes, and I was struggling a lot with just I guess the burdens of life and like my identity. And I think something that spiritually God was doing with me was just removing a lot of childhood and past hurts and dealing with the pain that I carried, and bringing healing to that through the truth of who He is, and understanding His love for me as like a father. So that was something that I feel was very characteristic of my college years.
Oh. So it sounds like, okay, I mean, obviously we're going to need to spend more time talking about this,
Mhm.
but to relate it back to what we were talking about previously, I mean, that was obviously a spiritually significant time for
It
you.
was,
I
yeah.
mean, I think obviously you feel that way, that maybe for this generation, that's still a spiritually significant time for them as well.
It is. I mean, every person that, you know, goes and steps into college, they're basically stepping into like the real world, right?
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
move away from home, and you find like a new church, and you have to start those new spiritual disciplines in a new land. It's a lonely place, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
fresh. And I really think that it shows what your priorities are, right?
yeah,
Again,
yeah.
um, if you're going to make the effort to go to church to worship God on Sundays, or that you're prioritizing a place where you can have accountability and you need a small group,
Mm,
you know, where you can share and receive encouragement and support. I think those are the same things that college students face now. And it's easy to slip into spiritual laziness, or if, you know, other things crowd your heart and become a priority in your life,
mm.
it's a reality. It's something that this is one of the reasons why when people go off, you guys just start praying, like,
Yeah.
you know, God will keep watch over them.
Yeah. Wow. Les, okay, so topics to talk about next time include your college experience and why it was so significantly spiritual for you. And then I also want to talk to you about you're actually tapping into this serving with Gen Z, with some of the younger ones, and making videos.
Yeah,
Maybe the next time we record, maybe there will already be a video or something, so we'll have something to talk about for sure.
yeah,
Um,
that.
but Les,
Mhm.
thanks for jumping on to do this. It's good to talk to you again. I'm really glad to do this with you. What's going on with Walnut Women? Why don't you give me an update before we go?
Okay, Walnut Women. I always have on my planning sheets like
Mhm.
episodes in the future that I have, reached out to individuals to ask them if they're interested and to prepare for it.
Right,
That's
right,
always
right,
works. And I think summer, I found that it's a time where I do kind of take a break from it,
right,
any weeks off, because I feel like there's church ministries that are important that I really want to be a part of and invest in.
right,
Um, so let's see. I don't think anything's changed, except I do have interest to explore different like recording options. Like we can do
right.
the same thing, same type of podcast on Zoom recordings. And I know that you said that you're okay with that,
I actually
but
like it. I like the format.
I'm sure it's very simple and it's straightforward.
Yeah.
But I think I'm always like when I see other ideas, I want to see if I could explore those ideas with Walnut Women.
Mm,
I think so far nothing's going to change for this upcoming year, except maybe new guests here and
mm.
there. But I don't know. We'll see. It's something I'm always praying about. So
Oh, for
I
sure, Les.
I do have an episode coming up actually with Jess.
Yeah.
That's in the
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to all the episodes, though, honestly, Les. It's a great podcast, and I'm really happy that you're doing it for church.
Cool. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks for the time, Les. Let's talk again soon.
Okay, take care.
Good night.
Good night.